The imaging giant, once synonymous with film, Kodak actually announced this year, due to a $500 million debt burden, it might be unable to continue operations. In contrast, rivals Sony, Canon, and Nikon split the digital pro DSLR market. Even Fujifilm, who once sold film with them, pivoted to medical supplies and cosmetics, pushing revenue to record highs. Why did Kodak's pivots fail so badly? Where exactly did they go wrong? Before phones replaced digital cameras, and before digital cameras were popular, photography was an expensive affair. Each photo consumed a frame of film. A roll only took 36 shots. In the 1970s US alone, Kodak made 9 out of every 10 rolls sold. Film gross margins exceeded 70%. No need to say how profitable that was. Now, Kodak is a hipster toy, used only by film buffs and some directors. Did Kodak fail by missing the digital wave? In fact, the world's first digital camera was made by Kodak in 1975. Engineer Steve Sasson did something new. He replaced film with a CCD sensor. Think of it as electronic film. But back then, it was very primitive. It had a pitiful 10,000 pixels. No one wanted to use it. So after constant improvement, by 1986, Kodak made the first megapixel CCD sensor, making decent 5x7 prints finally possible. With this powerful digital heart, Kodak partnered with Nikon. In 1991, they launched the Pro Digital SLR, called the Kodak DCS-100. Yes, history's first digital SLR was also created by Kodak. 4 years later, in 1995, Kodak used the same model to launch the EOS DCS series with Canon. In the 90s, the DCS series dominated the high-end DSLR market. If a photojournalist wanted a DSLR then, Kodak was basically the only choice. But the fatal flaw was, though Kodak led the digital era, they didn't dare to go all in. They feared hurting the film business since it was so profitable. Their Japanese rivals thought differently. They didn't have the film cash cow, so they had no sweet burden. In 1999, Nikon made a move. Before the 2000 Sydney Olympics, they launched their first Pro Digital SLR, the D1. It cost only $5,580, less than a third of Kodak's DCS system. Using the Olympic stage, the D1 became an instant hit. In 2000, Canon launched the D30. It used not the mainstream CCD, but CMOS sensors. These were cheaper and more power efficient. Digital cameras weren't heavy and pricey. Sony looked even farther ahead. They perfected CMOS technology, selling it to all who needed sensors. In the mirrorless camera era, using their top-tier sensors, they became the new market leader. What about Kodak? After losing the Pro DSLR market, they turned to consumer digital cameras. Surprisingly, it worked at first. Kodak's 2001 EasyShare once topped US sales charts. But Kodak's old habits returned. They released the EasyShare dock accessory, allowing you to print digital photos. So even while selling digital cameras, their mindset hadn't changed. They wanted to copy the film model, profiting from ink and photo paper, missing that the internet era had arrived. The real way to easy share was far from what Kodak imagined. As phones flooded the market and online sharing sites grew, Kodak finally realized its strategic error. By the 2007 iPhone launch, Kodak, the former imaging giant, had no strength left to struggle. Fujifilm should have suffered too, right? But not only are they fine, they're thriving. You can still buy new Fuji digital cameras. Drugstores sell their top-tier skincare. Hospitals may use Fuji X-ray equipment. Even chip fabs need Fuji photoresist. But these businesses that saved Fujifilm, Kodak actually had them all. Especially photoresist, Kodak pioneered it. In 1961, Kodak developed KT-FR photoresist. It formed a thin, circuit-patterned film using precision chemistry from filmmaking. You see, a tiny color negative is a complex chemical structure. To capture color and control quality, Kodak stacked 20-plus precise chemical layers, each layer only microns thick. This chemical craftsmanship is like etching circuits on silicon. The principles are the same. With unmatched chemical prowess, Kodak's KT-FR photoresist dominated the market in the 1960s. But just as Kodak felt secure at the top, a new tech was ready to kick them down. German company Kale developed a positive photoresist. Kodak's KT-FR had a fatal flaw. It hardened after exposure, but absorbed water and swelled, thickening lines and worsening resolution. Positive photoresist was the opposite. Exposed areas dissolved, no swelling, so the circuit edges were sharper. Kodak execs knew of this new tech, but they misjudged it. They missed that it had higher resolution, allowing for more transistors. This was crucial for wafer fabs, so companies making advanced chips ditched Kodak for positive photoresist. Kodak could have caught up then, but in 1987, the year TSMC was founded, Kodak execs made a suicidal decision. They sold the entire photoresist business. In their view, Kodak's goldmine was consumer film. Photoresist was a high-tech B2B business with only a few semiconductor clients. The commercial value didn't compare. They didn't foresee those few fabs would become a trillion-dollar industry. Without photoresist, Kodak's chemical foundation was just precision film formulas, like antioxidation to prevent fading, and collagen technology in film coatings. These are exactly the core keys for anti-aging skincare elasticity. Even if not for film, they could have been like Fujifilm, pioneering the beauty market. But in 1994, Kodak sold its subsidiary Eastman Chemical. Before being sold, Eastman Chemical was a Fortune 500 firm. From drink bottles to glasses, clothes, and even house paint, Eastman Chemical was likely behind it. Selling it cost Kodak diverse manufacturing, making non-film products hard. Ironically, Eastman's revenue now tops Kodak's. In 2007, Kodak also sold medical imaging. Many don't know, Kodak's hospital business was huge. From early X-ray film to the latest digital X-ray systems, it brought in $2.54 billion a year. Such a stable, profitable business, Kodak just easily let it go. They foolishly sank the funds into cameras and digital printing money pits. Comparing Kodak and Fuji's financials, Kodak's decisions were just squandering. About 30% of Fuji's revenue is healthcare, bringing in over 1 trillion yen a year, several times Kodak's current revenue. Another 10% from high-performance materials. In the EUV photoresist market, Fujifilm, JSR, TOK, and Shinetsu Chemical hold over 90% market share together. Kodak now relies on commercial printing, even selling mystery boxes, co-branded clothes, and merchandise to stay relevant, never returning to past glory. Back to ourselves, we all have a bit of Kodak in us. Our successful formulas often stop us from exploring new fields, missing many opportunities unknowingly. Does Kodak's story resonate with you? Do you have a love-hate success burden? Feel free to comment and chat.